We've talked Norwich City reporting on a 1-0 defeat to West Bromwich Albion today. Another very poor performance, another very poor result out there. I thought we'd learn lessons from Newcastle. I suppose we kind of did. We didn't concede 6 today. 5 goals better defensively, but still not the 3 points that we needed. We could have creeped into that bottom 3 today if Villa would have won. Luckily they lost because tactics Tim doesn't really know what he's doing there. And Newcastle will probably beat Sunderland tomorrow. So we're going to be lurking around that bottom 3. Today was a massive, massive game. West Brom weren't that special. You'll see later on there's an interview where a West Brom fan comes in, and it's actually quite interesting. We had a really intellectual Leicester fan come on the other week. Again today we had West Brom fans, they knew what they were talking about. They said this is their game plan, this is what they do. Why are we not scoring goals when we're so dominant for the first 30 minutes? They never looked like scoring. We knew that they wouldn't score in the first 30. That isn't their game plan. But when they do score, they'll park the bus, and even if we score, they'd take a draw away from home. Of course they would, you know, they're not ever going to be scrapping with relegation. I don't think. We're the ones that needed the win today. If we score in that first 30 minutes, that then means they have to come out, they have to try and get something. That's when we then kill the game off. That's when we get the second. You don't kill the game off when we're 1-0 down and they're sitting at the back. That isn't how football works. That isn't how the Premier League works. We might have got away with it in the Premier League, in the Championship, but we're not going to get it away with it in the Premier League. Once again, tactical naivety, I think. Stephen Whittaker, I was very critical of you last season, but I love you this season. I think it was an absolute monstrosity that you were dropped today. Honestly, Russell Martin is not good enough in the Premier League. I genuinely believe that. Yes, he scored the fairy tale goal at Anfield. Yes, he's a nice guy. I'm sure he'd be a nice guy to share a pint with, but he's not a decent footballer. And I genuinely think that, honestly, if I was Alex Neil out there, I'd shove Whittaker back in, I'd leave Ryan Bennett back in there, I'd put Lafferty on the bench. Why is Grabban on the bench? Lafferty needs to be in there. Oh, he scored twice against them last time, Lafferty. He deserves a chance, but it was too late, too little too late. We didn't ever look like scoring. We could have been playing until next Tuesday and we still wouldn't have scored. It's now a trip to Everton and then a massive game of Premier League fixtures coming up. I don't know where our next point is. Maybe Swansea, but we don't look that great against teams in and around us. I'm being very, very critical. I don't like how I'm speaking right now, so I'm going to wrap this up here. We lost 1-0 to West Brom. I've still got faith. We're still going to stay up, but today was crap.